Grab the duct tape and mentally prepare yourself for yet another mind-expanding knowledge bomb from America's #1 business coach, Clay Clark.
That's it. Bombs away.
Being a person of action. Z, I really would like for you to talk about this because it is very possible in this information age for you and I to know we have access, unbelievable access, Z, to information. Everybody out there, we have. Do you remember back in the day, you and I used to have to go to the library and get out the microfiche? Can you explain what the microfiche was and how you could use that to find information back in the day if you wanted it?
I'm not sure I'm a microfiche. Is it fiche expert? But it's basically this big contraption that they had everything that they had photographed and kind of minimized it, and then you could put it underneath there and it kind of projected into the thing, and you could move around the thing. And I don't know, I'm not doing a very good job. Well, the thing is, look at things.
Let's say that back in the day, though, let's say that you wanted to learn how to, let's say, put in a retaining wall and to decide what kind of drain tile to put in. You want to put in a nice French drain system, okay?
Merci beaucoup.
Back in the day, you were thinking about hiring a company to do it for you, and you wanted to get yourself well coached up, and you want to get educated about the subject before you make a decision.
Sure.
Back in the day, you could we go on Google back in 1992?
No.
And then back in 97, it was like, so you're like, forget it.
Yeah.
And so you'd have to go, you'd have to go buy that book series that Bob Vila made available.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that series you could buy, do it yourself
This Old
books?
House.
This Old House. Or you would go to the library and you'd talk to somebody who would say, welcome to the library. They'd always whisper, wearing glasses around their nose, welcome to the library. Okay. And you're going, I'm trying to find a book about landscape. Shh. You're in the library. What was your question? So it's this competition to be the quietest possible.
Sure.
And you could spend a day there trying to find.
And they were so happy you were there, and yet they were just seemed like they were so annoyed at the same time.
They were so annoyed.
But they were so happy you're there because they were like, someone's in my library. And yet they didn't want you in the library. It's kind of like, when your neighbors come over to your party. You're like, you want people there, but then you're like, I really don't want anybody in my house.
Right.
But yet you threw a party. So you don't want nobody to show up.
I remember I had a family member back in the day used to invite people over for holidays, and they would read a book.
Yes, just be bitter they're there.
Read a book while you're there.
Just give you skunk eye the whole time. I'm like,
you're invited me over. I'm trying to read this book while you're here.
Right.
That's why I invited you.
Right.
Okay. So the core conversation I want to have here, the core knowledge bomb is we're in the age of information. So how do you avoid information overload and to become a person of action in the information age? How do you become a person who's not so overwhelmed by all the options that you actually don't get anything done? In this time where we have so much opportunity and access to information, how do we become a doer in the age of information overload?
The way I do it is I just unplug. Someone asked me the other day, did you hear about the latest with XYZ? And I'm like, no. And they just look at me like, oh, how can you not know that? I go, yeah. Good thing about politics and good thing about life in general, for the most part on that level, is that you go about a year like it's like watching a soap. Days of Our Lives. Days of Our Lives.
Just watching that last night.
Yeah. You can skip a year, and then like in 15 minutes, you can flip it on you. You're home for lunch one day, and you're thinking, I wonder what's going on with Becky and Susan and Billy and Days of Our Lives, or whoever they are. You turn it on within 15 minutes, you've caught up the whole year. I mean, it's nothing happened. So unplug, quit worrying about it, quit blogging about it. I don't know the wall's going to go up. I think the wall's going up. I don't care about the wall's going up. I hate the wall. I love the wall.
Z, with the optometry clinic, how are you going to mitigate risk during the third quarter of the 2024?
Yeah, it's just going to be epic. Who's going to run? Who's not going to run? What are they going to run on? How are they going to do?
How do you feel the economic conditions and the cost of steel in China will impact?
Did you hear what he said? Are you
going to port? Have you decided to expand the auto auction, or are you worried about the cost of concrete going up?
China. What are we going to do with China? China's coming. What are we going to do with China?
Seriously, you've heard people that say that kind of stuff. See, have you not heard this kind of stuff?
I mean, I do. And I block it out. I don't watch the news. I used to read 2 newspapers a day, and I quite frankly don't even read the newspapers anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't look at the newspapers. I'm very purposeful in knowing what I need to get done, what I can control. I'm not a control freak because he's a control freak. No. Listen, you've got your lane. Stay in your lane, and your lane is stuff that you can get done yourself. I can't, no matter what phone calls I make, the walls are not going to go up or go down. I can't.
So because Trump-tastic is trying to get that wall built, that doesn't impact your day?
I don't pay attention to it.
Because Cortez is raising minimum wage, you're not shutting down your businesses?
I'm not shutting down my businesses.
Because increased regulation and the changing of Obamacare was impacting the medical industry, you're not getting out of the optometry clinic?
No, tell me the new rules and I'll play by them. Tell me the hoops.
Because Warby Parker is an online dealer selling glasses, you're not going to put your head in the sand and cry?
I'm going to crush Warby Parker.
What do you?
I know.
So Z, because there might be another auto auction moving to town, you're not going to just stop expanding your auto auction?
Correct.
Because the economy might be tightening up due to inflation, and we might have to raise interest rates during the year 2021. You haven't stopped growing?
No, and that's the thing about it is, here's what it is, folks. And I know it's easier said than done.
Here we go.
But I think the number one thing that keeps people from doing action steps, in other words, if everyone ever listening out there right now, if I said, listen, what is one thing you could do today that would better your life, better your business, better your situation? You could hopefully you could tell me something.
Yeah.
And then I would look at you. The next question would be, why aren't you doing it? And I think the number one thing that keeps people from doing things that they need to know, that they know they need to do, is fear. Fear is, I think, if I could stamp out one thing in this world, if someone said, hey, here's a magic wand, you can stamp out one.
Well, if Tony Robbins were here, and Tony Robbins is not here, but if he was here, he would say that fear is false evidence appearing real. And although Tony and I disagree on a great many things, I agree on that.
I do agree on that.
We agree. That's a mega point for Tony. Good job, Tony.
Yeah, it's the opposite. Yeah, there you go, mega point.
Yeah.
He can spend that in our workshop. So I think that's what happens. Fear of failure, fear of not succeeding, fear of fill in the blank, fear of looking like a fool.
Al-Qaeda.
Fear
I know people that have not started companies.
Nuclear waste.
I know people that have not started companies because they're afraid of Al-Qaeda.
A lot of things. It's kind of like, well, I don't know what the economy is going to do with this new administration, so I'm going to sit back and wait.
Now think about this. George Washington Carver once wrote, he said, 99% of the failures come from people who have the habit of making excuses. 99% of the failures come from people who have the habit of making excuses. My friend, if you are out there trying to get stuff done in this age of information overload and data smog, here are Dr. Z's 2 tips. 1, focus on what you can control. And 2, unplug, baby. Unplug. Focus on what you control. Get some action steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Let's get it done. Let's get our stuff done. I love that get her done. We got to go get her done. We got to interview General McChrystal here in just a second. So we're going to go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.